Hello, Gold participants and listeners from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC for Gold Learning. And here at Gold, we love to connect with experts in the maternal child health field, and we invite them to sit down with us and have a little chat. And one of these experts is here with me today. I'm so happy to introduce you all to Stephanie Larson. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Kristen. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Oh, it is wonderful to have you here, and I am so excited to speak with you today. You are the founder of Dancing for Birth. How wonderful is that? And I can't wait to hear all about that in just a minute. For our listeners that are we have an international audience here at Gold. Let us know a little bit about where in the world are you located, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm located in St. Louis, Missouri in the United States. It's right in the middle of America, and it's actually the home of the Arch. That's the gateway to the West, and it's a structure that's really tall. You can go up inside it and have a beautiful view. So I encourage everyone to come visit St. Louis if you ever get that opportunity.
How wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that you could go into that arch. I've seen pictures of it, but I didn't know you could actually go up there.
Yeah, you go in this tiny little elevator and you
Uh-huh.
ride up to the top, and it's really interesting because when you look out of the window, there's nothing below you until you get all the way down to the ground. So
Ooh.
it's really
Wow.
it's really wonderful.
That sounds like fun. So, Stephanie, you are the founder of Dancing for Birth. Tell us a little bit before, how did that happen? How did you come up with this program? Tell us all about this program. For me as a midwife, I'm always interested to learn more about what's out there. What can we do with our birthing families and to assist them having a wonderful birth? So, give us a little bit of background story about you and how this
Yeah.
all came to pass.
Well, I never imagined myself in the birth field. Actually, when I was a little child, I wanted to grow up and be a fashion designer. And that's exactly what I did. So I was living and working in New York City, a single gal in New York, a fashion designer by day. And then at night, I discovered all of this rich cultural dance that's available in New York City because it really is a melting pot. And I had always done ballet as a child, but somehow the cultural dance and those rhythms and that really captured my soul. And that's where I really fell in love with dance. So I was dancing every day, and that continued when I was pregnant.
Mm.
So, when I gave birth for the first time, dance really played an important role, and it was the epiphany that I needed to totally change the direction of my life, change my career, and become a birth professional. And now I have the best job in the world. I travel around the world teaching birth professionals how to make birth more effective and more enjoyable by using dance and using the Dancing for Birth method. So I feel like I never ever want to retire. I want to do this forever.
Mhm.
And even if I can no longer walk, I know I can still dance because if we can move any part of our body, even our eyes, even our smile, then we can still dance.
Oh, what a fantastic background. I just love listening to you. You're painting us this rich picture of, how you started out in New York City, leading this exciting life as a fashion designer, and then discovering dance and taking that into, and turning that into your passion and helping women in, having a wonderful birth and labor for that matter. It's just wonderful. And yeah, so tell us a little bit. So you danced during your own labor, right? And
Yes,
and what
I
did you
danced.
discover? How did that go?
I was really, I was guided by my birth instincts, and I was really fortunate to have care providers who encouraged that, who
Mm,
set me free to do what I wanted. They didn't put any protocols on me or any restrictions on me. So
hmm
I was free to move around, and really it never occurred to me to get in the bed. I danced around the room. I danced in the shower. And in 4 short, euphoric, wonderful hours later, I danced my baby out. And
Wow.
at that point, I felt like Superwoman herself. I just felt like I could do anything. And what a great way to start out as a new parent. So I couldn't stop thinking at that point about babies and birth and moms and families and just wanting to, express that joy to everyone I met.
That must have been a wonderful birth experience, and 4 hours for your first birth, that as a midwife, I can tell you, is quite something there. That's amazing, actually. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it was anything out of the ordinary, really.
And I have to tell you, from my own experience, I see that the clients I have, or the ladies I work with, the ones who not only are physically active, but are also passionate dancers, no matter what kind of dance background they have, if it's ballet or belly dance or hula, whatever they feel is works for them. And I see them, and often it's almost like when I watch them, it's like a primal experience. It's like as if their body's telling them just to do it, and they do it. And I have seen, without any big training, how wonderful that is if women allow this instinct to take over, and just follow the rhythm and dance in labor. How wonderful.
Yeah, it is so beautiful. So you can see that primal energy and you can see that inner knowing. It just
Yes.
comes right out.
Yes, it's just wonderful. So, and I can imagine there's also a lot of evidence-based information with that coming, how it comes to dance and birth, right, Stephanie?
Yeah, we're fortunate that there's a lot of studies about exercise during pregnancy and being upright and mobile during birth. And then we're also fortunate that there's a new study that came out specifically about dancing during birth. So that's really wonderful that the science is backing up,
Great.
what I've been seeing
Right.
in labor for the last 20 years teaching this.
Wow. Yes, and that's good. So how did you go about creating your program? How did you find out, okay, what works? What moves are good? What do I incorporate? How did you go about that when you were creating this program?
I think that one thing that allowed me to create the program is that I was coming from outside of the birth field. So really, I had no box. I didn't have to get out of a box. I was already not in a box. So that helped me see birth in a different way, and that really helped. And I had also felt those instincts, and I had felt firsthand how it helped me in my birth. But I also wanted to get training as well. So I became a certified birth doula, and I attended births for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was also a childbirth educator, and during that time, I developed Dancing for Birth class and taught it in the community for 6 years. I was the only Dancing for Birth instructor for 6 years while I was developing the program, and also I have 4 children, so every 2 years a new baby coming, and
More dancing during
and then
birth.
right, and dancing those babies out. And actually, I was using it as I was assisting people as a birth doula.
Uh-huh.
And so other professionals were seeing my clients having wonderful births and the people who came to Dancing for Birth classes having really extraordinary births. And they wanted to know what's going on, how's this possible? So I invited them to come to Dancing for Birth class for parents. And then by popular demand, the certification program came to be because they wanted to be able to also teach this in their communities and teach this to their clients.
Right.
So that's how that started back in 2007 was the first
Wow.
Dancing for Birth instructor training. And then in 2009 was the first international Dancing for Birth instructor training. And and then in 2012 was the first trainer of instructors training. So it's like that little rock you throw into the still waters of the pond, and then the ripples just start to spread, and it takes you places you just couldn't even imagine in the beginning.
How wonderful, how beautiful. And I think, I can imagine it speaks, this program speaks to a lot of mothers or women, pregnant women who like, oh yeah, I can see this looks like fun, this looks exciting, this is different, this is not your mother's childbirth education class where you sit and somebody speaks to you and teaches you. You actually be part of this amazing, moving and having fun and being in a community with other women dancing together.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. And so I can imagine
exactly.
that really this it speaks to a lot of women. It's different, it's exciting, it's fun. Um,
Yeah, we can't underestimate that
yeah,
kinesthetic part of the learning.
exactly.
So it's like practice for labor. You're actually learning it in your body so that you can use it. You feel it during labor and you use it.
That's amazing. So, of course, many women go like, "Oh, this is perfect. I love doing this." What do you say? And maybe you have experienced this that there's a woman comes and says, "Well, I'd like to do this, but I have no musical bone in my body. I always look silly when I dance, and maybe this is fun, but I'm very super conscious about how I look, and I can't even move." What do you say then?
The best thing is to know that if you dance, then by definition, you're a dancer. And so we take out those adjectives. We don't need to define it good, bad, experienced, novice,
Right.
anything. If you dance, you're a dancer.
Yeah.
And so dance for your own pleasure and enjoyment. And in our classes, we actually don't even use mirrors. So we stand in a circle, we dance together, and what we see is not our own reflection in the mirror. We see the radiant, joyful faces of everyone around us and how beautiful they are, and
Oh.
that reflects back on us, and then we feel it too.
That's a wonderful way of putting it, Stephanie. That's thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I know because especially with dance, I don't know why we have this perceived image that we have to be good at this or we have to be professional at this. I mean, I don't know why we think like that has to be that way. I take adult dancing classes myself and I see that over and over again that many women are, or not just women but adults are very hesitant to try out a new class because they think like, oh, I can't do this, I have no rhythm, I have no this and that. But explaining it how you did it just now, instead of seeing like we're all dancers, instead of we're beginner, advanced, whatever. As soon as you dance, you're a dancer, and just seeing the joy in the faces, that is really what counts. So that was a very nice way of phrasing it.
And it does help dispel so much fear because
Yes.
when,
Yeah.
yeah, when you feel good in your body,
Right.
then those fears and anxieties and worries just naturally dissipate and you feel so happy.
hmm And which is very beneficial for labor as well, because like labor, is an unknown and it can feel intense, and so having these tools available are probably perfect for that.
Yeah, and what I see is no one's worried about the next contraction. So they're just moving through this one and they're really in the moment. That's one of the gifts of dancing is that it helps us be
Yes.
in this moment right now. We're not
Yeah.
thinking about the past or what was worrying us before. We're not thinking about the future, but we're so much in the moment. We can really enjoy the gift of the moment and just no worries. So that's a beautiful thing in life, but also especially in birth.
Absolutely, yes, being in the moment. So now tell us about this presentation. We have the presentation that you will be giving us here that will be available on October 1st, and it's part of the um, Gold Learnings Labor Support Skills Lecture Pack, the Dancing for Birth, a Powerful Evidence-Based Birth Method to Improve Birth Satisfaction. So what will you be teaching us here?
This is an intro to Dancing for Birth. It's been around for 20 years, and yet not everybody knows about it yet.
Right.
And what I hear most often when I teach Dancing for Birth trainings, and this is from professionals who've been practicing for many years already, is why wasn't I ever taught this? And they're so excited to put it into practice. So I hope the takeaway from today will be that when it comes to birth, what's customary isn't necessarily normal. especially in a physiological sense. And I hope that this new vision of what birth can be is embraced and that everyone can use it to help their clients have empowered and deeply satisfying births, because that's the goal.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie. And if we wanted to check out more about this wonderful program, do you have a website for us where we can get more information?
Absolutely. The website is dancingforbirth.com. There's actually an upcoming professional Dancing for Birth training in Providence, Rhode Island on October 26th and 27th, hosted by Women and Infants Hospital of Rhode Island. And for those who are wanting to be in a really immersive experience, we have the Dancing for Birth Professional Training Retreat in Bali, Indonesia, June 14th through 20th. So that's just a beautiful, magical place to come together. People can learn more about the training at dancingforbirth.com/training.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie Larson, for spending some time here and talking about dance, birth, and this wonderful method that you're teaching and here.
Thank you, Kristen.
And now for our listeners, this presentation, Dancing for Birth, a powerful evidence-based birth method to improve birth satisfaction by Stephanie Larson is, as I mentioned before, part of the Learning Labor Support Skills, Gold Learning's Labor Support Skills Lecture Pack, and will be available on October 1st. To find out more about this presentation and the other presentations in the lecture pack, please visit goldlearning.com. Thank you everyone for listening here today. Bye-bye.